Dear students, Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. This is Arafat mujeeb from FEI Higher Secondary Institute. Today, chapter number 4, Biology 10th class, and chapter is Heredity and Genetics. In this chapter, my following topics are in this fossils and evolutionary relationship and speciation. दो टॉपिक्स में आज इसमें डिस्कस करना चाहता हूँ चैप्टर नंबर 4 में आज इस पे डिस्कशन होंगे। तो यहाँ फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल कि किस तरह यहाँ स्टडी ऑफ फॉसिल्स लीड अस टू द कॉन्सेप्ट ऑफ एवोल्यूशन को हम स्टडी कर लेंगे फॉसिल्स यहाँ, और इस बिना पे हम कैसे प्रिडिक्ट कर सकते हैं, हमें कैसे एक evidence मिलता है, yes there is the evolution takes place. That means the process of formation of new species from their pre-existing species, and it is the evolution. Now in this I will discuss about the fossils. What are the fossils? What are these fossils? Fossils are remains. These are the remains, dead remains of organisms, or we can say these are the remains या traces जो हमें मिलता है. Traces, it can be traces, छाप जिसको कहते हैं, impression या impression. हमें fossils जो होते हैं ये these are the dead body of remains organisms, traces of those organisms, yeah, impression on the surface of the rocks, yeah, in the particles, their impression, body part impression. तो हम उस चीज को कहते हैं fossils. What are the fossils? Remains, traces, impressions of pre-existing organisms, of pre-existing organisms जो since the ancient age जो organisms थे उनको हम कहते हैं प्री एग्जिस्टिंग organisms के जो remains रह गए हो, या उनके ट्रेसेस पार्टिकल्स रह गए हो, या उनके जो बॉडी, डेड बॉडी का जो इम्प्रेशन हमें दिखने को मिलता है ऑन द सरफेस ऑफ रॉक्स, in the rocks, yeah, on the surface of the sedimentary rocks, yeah, in the particles, yeah, between the layers of the sedimentary rocks, there are the impression of their dead bodies, and those are the fossils. Those fossils can be of fossils of plants, animals, other organisms survive on the surface of the earth. That means they occur in the layers of the sedimentary rocks, peat. हमें कहाँ से fossil जो होते हैं, अब ये fossil हमें कहाँ, what are the sources of fossils? These are the major sources of fossils. Sedimentary rocks, मतलब between the layers of sedimentary rocks, number 1. Number 2, we get it is a peat. It is a form of coal. Peat, it is one of the major source of coal. In the peat, amber भी एक product है, primitive type of substance, amber, and there are also found in the rock material maybe हमें. So these are the few sources where we can obtain the fossils. You have seen that about the sedimentary rock, major fossils resides here. Major fossils reside here, that it is in the marine water. You obtain the sediments in the bed of the marine water में आप sedimentous rock उसको पा सकते हो. And अब जो a branch of science which deals with the study of fossils. Fossils can be millions of years ago, old age, 200 millions of age. These are the fossils are the primitive organisms. It is the decomposition of primitive organisms which are locked up, in the material सेडिमेंटेड मटेरियल में ये लॉकड अप होता है, और ये हमें एक एविडेंस मिलता है, गवाह मिलता है कि हाँ, देयर वायर द primitive earth, there were the primitive organisms, and now new organisms truthfully have exist from these primitive type of organisms. Fossils play important role, and it plays important role in the study of the evolution concept, and it is proved these days that it is a written documentary proof about the primitive type of organisms that have become vanished, extinction in category, that today they are not found on the surface of earth, but we have documentary proof. We have some particles, rocks, which are with those impressions of fossils. Now by the help of these fossils, we get connecting links between the different organisms, and still these days research is going on. Still there is the various gaps between which cannot be elaborated accurately, but there are still the gaps between the organisms, between the groups of organisms. There are still gaps which give us still clue, which gives us still comprehension towards the finding of those fossils. Efforts are at peak to find out those fossils. That means research is going on. That we can say here, these materials, we expect that fossils can be find out. Now fossils, here is a separate sinus that study about fossils. Different fossils are known as paleontology. जो ये साइंस है, paleontology is a science which study about the different fossils. This is the known as the paleontology. And paleontology जो है is a branch of science which deals with the evidence, which deals with the study of fossils, fossil time, fossil date, fossil age, fossil it contain fossils features, characteristics, and the era we predict by the fossils. वो सारा हमें पता चलता है, and it has a separate science here. And when we study this stuff, and fossils give us direct evidence. The study of fossils, it gives a direct evidence about the evolution. It is a directive evidence about the concept of fossils. इससे हमें बिल्कुल डायरेक्ट एविडेंस मिलता है कॉन्सेप्ट फॉसल्स के बारे में. दैट मीन्स फॉसल्स record fossil shows records about the different types of the fossils found at that time, and they are find out in the research. We find out those fossils, different types of fossils, and it keeps us a record, it keeps us a documentary proof, practical proof of those organisms which have been extinct on the surface of the earth. Now these fossils जो होते हैं, these fossils they give us the evolution concept of it it make us comprehend so direct evidence about the concept of, sorry, it is not first about the concept of evolution. नहीं गलत लिखा यहाँ पे. जो फॉसिल्स है, जो हमें न्यू स्पीशीज, जो हमें नए न्यू स्पीशीज विद न्यू वेरिएशंस हमें दिखने को मिलता है, नए नए स्पीशीज, वो असल में एग्जिस्ट हुए हैं. उनके हमें क्या मिलता है, हमें कनेक्टिंग लिंक्स मिलते हैं. वी ऑब्टेन कनेक्टेड लिंक. हालांकि ये जो न्यू स्पीशीज एक नए अंदाज में, एक नए कैरेक्टरिस्टिक्स में, नए मॉडिफिकेशन में, एट दैट टाइम it is very tough, very difficult to predict that it is fossil is present about 200 years ago, about 500 million years ago. It is very tough to predict out, to determine that when it gives fossils is important, that it gives it as primitive link when we study the fossils, and कुछ ना कुछ कैरेक्टर हम जरूर पाएंगे एक नए स्पीशीज में फॉसल स्टडी करने से. तो आगे चलते, हमारे पास कुछ बहुत सारे फॉसल्स है जिनको आप बिल्कुल आप यकीन होगा कि वाकई जो फॉसल है, these fossils have connected links with those with the today modern time organisms के साथ इनका लिंक है. They still have characteristic features as they have in the primitive type of organisms. आज भी इन organisms में इस हिसाब से लिंक है. हमारे पास एक फॉसल है, that is trilobite. It is name is that trilobites. ट्राइलोबाइट क्या है, ये एक फॉसल है. ट्राइलोबाइट ये पैलियोज़ोइक जो है, पैलियोज़ोइक एरा से, पैलियोज़ोइक एरा से बिलोंग करता है, विच इज टाइम इज अबाउट नॉट ए जो 500 to 600 million years old. million years old. ये मैंने एग्जाम्पल मेंशन किया. इस फॉसल को आप देखिए, इस फॉसल ट्राइलोबाइट ऐसा एक फॉसल है जो इस एरा में, पैलियोज़ोइक एरा में एग्जिस्ट हुआ है. और कितना ओल्ड ये फॉसल है, that is 500 or 600 million years ago. It is the time of the fossil. This trilobite में क्या है, इसमें क्या था, इसमें आर्थ्रोपोडा लाइक फीचर्स थे. आपको पता है कि आर्थ्रोपोडास आर इंसेक्ट्स. उनमें क्या होते, एंटीने होते, एंटीने, उनमें एंटीने होते हैं, पेयर ऑफ एंटीने, पेयर ऑफ एंटीने होते हैं. जॉइंटेड फीट होते हैं, उनमें जॉइंटेड अपेंडेजेस होते हैं. आपको पता है अपेंडेजेस. और इसमें देखा गया है डॉर्सल, जो इसका पीछे वाला सरफेस होता है, डॉर्सल सरफेस पे, इस पे देखा गया 3 lobed lobed palatus. तभी तो इसका नाम है ट्राई मीन्स 3 lobitus. On its dorsal surface it has 3 lobed palatus. तभी तो इसका नाम है ट्राइलोबाइटस. तो इसमें देखा गया है आर्थ्रोपोड्स जैसे फीचर्स, इसमें देखे गए आर्थ्रोपोड्स लाइक फीचर्स. और कहा जाता है जो आर्थ्रोपोड्स है, इनका जो एंसेस्टर जो है, दैट इज ट्राइलोबाइट, जो इतना पुराना है, नॉट ए जो 500 या 600 मिलियन ईयर्स ओल्ड एजड फॉसल. और आर्थ्रोपोड लाइक फीचर्स इसमें पाए गए. दैट मीन टू दीज डेज वी स्टडी अबाउट द आर्थ्रोपोड्स, दे हैव डिसेंड द कैरेक्टर्स बाय दिस ट्राइलोबाइट्स. trilobites, or what is this, then I can say this is the most primitive type. Most primitive type. It is most primitive arthropoda. उसमें देखा गया. It is that we believe that आजकल जो ये फीचर्स हम देखते हैं in the arthropods, that यही फीचर्स आज वो इसमें देखे गए, यही फीचर्स आज हम आर्थ्रोपोड्स फाइलम आर्थ्रोपोडा में देखते हैं. ये एक एग्जाम्पल है जिससे हम बिलीव कर सकते हैं जो आर्थ्रोपोडा है दे हैव डिसेंट बाय these trilobites. दे है, याद रखिए डोर्सल सरफेस पे इसके 3 लोब्ड पैलेट्स है. तो इस फीचर, इस कैरेक्टरिस्टिक्स के कारण इसको नाम पड़ा ट्राइलोबाइटस. लोब, ट्राई मीन्स 3 लोब्ड पैलेट, इसका एक मॉर्फोलॉजी के बेसिस पे इसका नाम है. मोस्ट प्रिमिटिव फॉसल है ये. नाउ दिस इज द extinct species. It had been vanished on the surface of earth. Now is the against another example I will mention in the fossil. Second example is the ammonites. Then example is ammonites. एमोनाइट जो है अनदर एग्जांपल है. ये भी कहा जाता इट इज अ एमोनाइट. इट इज अ primitive molluscus. It is a primitive type molluscus and is about 200 million years old. This fossil ammonites, it is a primitive molluscus. आपको पता है कि what are the molluscus? These are the shelled animals. They have presence of shell. ये जो ammonite है ये spiral in form है. It is spiral in form. ऐसे spiral in form है ये. It is somewhat spiral in form and is shelled. Body covered with shell. Body covered with. जो आजकल हम देखते हैं, क्या देखते हैं, जो एनिमल्स, जो फाइलम मोलस्का है वो डिसेंट हुए हैं, उनकी एग्जिस्टेंस हुई है इस प्रिमिटिव टाइप ऑफ फॉसल से, एमोनाइट्स से, जो स्पाइरल इन फॉर्म है, बॉडी इज कवर्ड विद शेल. as we see the molluscs have outer covering made of shell, outer covering that it is spiral in form. ये एक fossil है. To these days it has become extinct on the surface of earth with the species of dinosaurs. Dinosaurs के साथ भी इनका खात्मा हुआ है. It is spirally coiled molluscus, ammonites. These have been vanished these days. It is also a fossil. With the help we can believe that study of fossil lead us to the concept of the evolution. That fossil we study about. Now you have study about the example third. Now is the Archaeopteryx. It is a bird. Archaeopteryx जो है, it is a fossil. It is a fossil bird. It is a fossil bird. Now these days it is extinction. इसकी extinction हुई है. Now it is vanished on the surface of earth and is about 180 million years ago. Its survival was that. Now it shows as connecting link. It shows connecting link between aves and reptiles. इसमें हमने देखे, इसमें एव्स लाइक फीचर्स थे. एव्स लाइक फीचर्स क्या थे? प्रेजेंस ऑफ, शाबाश, क्या था? प्रेजेंस ऑफ फेदर. इसमें फेदर थे जिस तरह बर्ड्स में पाए जाते, और दे हैव अ बीक विद टीथ विद जॉ. तो हम कहेंगे बीक. पहले तो हम बर्ड्स लाइक फीचर्स देखेंगे. दे हैव बर्ड्स लाइक, they have claws. These were the birds like features. But what were the reptiles like feature? Reptiles like feature, that means it have jaws with teeth in a beak. जो इसकी चोंच थी उसमें jaws थे और jaws में teeth. ये reptiles like feature थे. नंबर 1 इसमें, हाँ, नंबर 1. और क्या फीचर था इसमें? बोन्स वायर सॉलिड. जिस तरह रेप्टाइल्स में हमने देखे सॉलिड बोन्स इनमें होते हैं, इसमें भी देखे और हमने देखा. और इसमें देखा हमने 3 डिजिट टोज हमने देखे इसमें. तो हमने इसमें रेप्टाइल्स लाइक फीचर्स देखे, मिक्स अप ऑफ aves features according to the morphology and reptiles like features, and they have it gives us a connecting link between the aves and reptiles. It is considered as a fossil bird, and connecting link it provides between aves and reptiles, and the fossil is 180 million years ago. This is about the this bird, Orchoptiles. It is a fossil bird which is with this feature. Now if we go ahead in this fossils, we have certain organisms. You talk about the euglena. It gives a connecting link between protista. It gives us connecting link between plants and animals. It gives us connecting link between the plants and animals. Second one where the it is the peripatus. It gives us connecting link between the annelida and orthopoda. देखो यहाँ पे किस तरह एक ऑर्गेनिज्म एसेंड हुआ है, एग्जिस्ट हुआ है फ्रॉम द प्री एग्जिस्टिंग ऑर्गेनिज्म से. यही हमें पता चलता है यहाँ पे. प्लांट्स एंड एनिमल्स में कनेक्टिंग लिंक यूग्लिना एंड पेरिपेटस. इट गिव्स अ कनेक्टिंग लिंक. इट हैव annelidas like features and arthropoda like features. And third one is they have the features of the, then another is Protopterus. It shows us connecting link between the fish and amphibians. Amphibians. They have the presence of scales like fishes and lungs like the amphibians. Protopterus but here are the various examples. Here are the various organisms which are the foolproof of the foolproof evidence about the concept of the evolution. That euglena is the connective link. It is a peripatus connective link and Protopterus. And another one is the Ornithorhynchus. Ornithorhynchus जो है, it is a connecting link between the it have reptiles like features and associated then have the mammals. It has mammals like features and ALS, mammals like features, and reptiles like features, they lay eggs, and mammals like feature, that means they give milk to their young ones after having the birth, after hatching by the egg. They have a connecting link, that means they partly resemble with mammals, partly they this resemble with the reptiles. Here, with the help of these, we can prove here that the evolution concept takes place always, and species exist from its pre-existing species, as we believe by the concept, by the study of the fossils. You know that there are the radioactive dating. With the help, we can determine, with the help of this concept, we can determine the age of fossils. We can determine the age of fossils by, you have carbon dating, you have some radioactive elements, you have some radioactive elements, you have uranium, you have argon, radioactive argon, you have radioactive potassium, you have radioactive another is the potassium, argon, uranium is the lead. These are the radioactive material which are containing in the rocks, and rock contains the fossils. When we study radioactive dating, they have the lifetime, these elements have lifetime, how much they have been consumed, expired, and how much there is remaining in the rock. With the help, we can determine the age of the fossils, and these they are important, as we have carbon dating is meant for the calculating the age of fossils, of recent fossils. जो recent fossils होते हैं, जो उतना उनको टाइम नहीं लगा है, recent fossils, उसके लिए जो कैसे हम डिटरमाइन करते हैं एज, उसके लिए there is the carbon 14 dating. It is significant, ये ठीक रहता है for the calculation of the for the calculation the recent fossil. उसका उतना टाइम नहीं हुआ है, but to determine the age of that fossil, this is the one of the technique by the carbon 14 dating. Another is the uranium lead dating, या argon potassium dating. दूसरा हमारे पास है uranium lead dating, या और we have potassium argon dating. ये जो दो टेक्निक्स हम डिटरमाइन करते हैं, we determine by the fossils millions of years ago. उससे हम डिटरमाइन करते एज ऑफ fossils millions of years, जिसके बहुत सारे millions of years ago aged. जो वो fossil, that means very primitive fossils can be determined by very most of primitive type of fossils, जिनका बहुत टाइम हुआ है as a fossils, उनको हम इन दो टेक्निक से हम पता लगा सकते हैं the age of fossils. तो आगे चलेंगे. हमारे पास आज जो recent टेक्निक है, that is the electron spin resonance. It is the latest technique, in determining the age of fossil without any breakup, without any damage. हम लिखेंगे या break, कभी कभार fossil को हम without any damage to the fossil. It is the latest, beta. This is the latest technique latest technique which we have find out in determining the age of the fossils without damage, without breaking those fossil containing matter ko toot na jaye. Jab bhi there is an emission of the uranium lead radiations and the part is breaking down, and there is very tough and very difficult to determine the age, and this technique remains very convenient, and it is a recent technique, latest technique in determining the age of fossils. It is all about students, the concept of fossils, how it help in determining how it help us to understand the concept of evolution. Thank you very much.